Today, ladies, or rather gentlemen, we are making a Warhammer Diorama on top of a hot chocolate lid using some parts from the Millennium Falcon. Now this diorama project has actually just been over 8 months off and on, because I never really liked how it ended up looking, but I think it is really important to show your successes as well as maybe your lesser successes. And to start, I hot glued the Falcon's front wing onto the lid, so that's going to act as a destroyed Horus Heresy era plane. Then after using some cut up XPS foam, and my favourite air drying clay, we can finally start to build up the terrain for the base of the diorama. Once everything had dried, it's time for some smart mud, which is basically like your very own malleable dirt clay. This will act as all of the dirt for this diorama, adding this nice cool realistic effect. And we can make this look even better by sprinkling some real sand over the diorama with a second helping of some foam flocking, which we can use some isopropyl alcohol and white glue to glue everything down. Now the reason why we use isopropyl alcohol is to get rid of any surface tension, allowing it to get deep into those recesses. And after finally priming our diorama, it's time to build our Horus Heresy tank. While not the smallest thing I've handled, it's definitely the smallest thing I've ever built. For a small tank, I really felt like this was actually building a full-size model kit, which is really fun, but oh boy, I can really imagine the pain of building more than one of these. And with the tank finally built, I primed it with the zenithal highlight, as well as some little other dudes. And to start painting, I used Imperial Fists yellow, as I was in a really big rush to find a good colour scheme for these guys. Ironic because this was over 8 months ago. So when it comes to painting the tank, I remember wanting to have some kind of big contrast on the vehicle, so I chose a black and yellow colour theme. And it went pretty smooth sailing. The biggest regret I remember having at the time was having a bad zenithal highlight. I went from a black to a white when I really should have gone from a grey to a white. That really would have eased some of the transitions from that yellow on the armour, but that's why it's good to live and learn. So after base coating the tank, I bathed him in a dark brown enamel wash, because it really wouldn't be one of my videos without it. Then all I did for the tank after that was remove them with some trusty odorless spirits. Which leads us to painting the Sons of Horus Crash starship plane thingy. I don't really know the actual name of this type of plane they would have flown in the Horus Heresy, so let me know if you know what they are. So after painting the wing green with some nice black stripes with an airbrush, I wanted to start painting the ground of the diorama to get a nice little feel of how it's going along. But some weird chaotic magic started to happen with the paints, and no matter how many paints I poured on it, it wouldn't have any decent effect. So I gave up for the meantime and started to paint all of the silver bits on the wing, like all these tiny cables on the front and back. And once all the cables were done, it's time to block out some of the machinery on this plane's wing. Now, this really did take 100% of my concentration not to get any of the black on the green, because that would be a disaster. The last thing you want to get on your airbrushed Mini is some really dark paint, because I'm not going to be able to fix that with a brush. So after adding some bronze metallics to the model, I then decided to add some chipping to the Mini, which even at the time I think was a really bad idea, as it looked a lot more like a mistake than any battle damage I've seen. Now in an attempt to defeat whatever curse that was laid onto this dirt, I chose to grab my airbrush and start painting it like a barren landscape. Finally, it was time to face my fears and paint a Space Marine the size, I don't even have a comparison to compare it to, but something really small. I started by priming the Space Marine white, and then painting it with a yellow contrast paint, and I said I went all out on my concentration earlier, but this time I had to lock in and go beyond my capabilities. Which you can imagine you really have to do. Fair play to anyone who can paint these tiny chainswords and bolter pistols. It really is a lot of fun though. So to cheat my way of getting any kind of contrast on this Mini, I grabbed some black enamels and coated him, then removed them like I did earlier to that tank. And as the diorama's dirt literally had no contrast, it was just black, I grabbed some paints and did a really heavy dry brush on the diorama, as it was stressing me out at the time. So as we finally approached the end, at the time, yes, I really didn't like this piece, I might have even hated it. But looking back, I think it's not too bad. I think it's actually okay. I think sometimes we can be really harsh on ourselves, especially when we're bombarded with godlike paint jobs every day. But I hope you've enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.